Have you ever felt lost despite achieving success? Elias, a baker famed for his soulful sourdough, almost did. He won awards, expanded his business, but lost the very essence of his craft. Discover how one wise woman's words rekindled his passion, teaching him that true mastery lies in staying hungry and humble. This is a story about finding your soul. In the small town of Oakhaven, Elias was celebrated for his extraordinary sourdough bread. His bakery, a humble place with creaky floors and faded walls, held a magic that drew people in from miles around. Each loaf that emerged from his oven was more than just bread. It was a piece of Elias's soul. Every morning before dawn, Elias would arrive at the bakery to begin his work. He would gently knead the dough, a living thing of flour, water, and a sourdough starter he cherished. This was more than a job. This was a connection that transcended the mundane. Elias felt a deep connection to his craft, pouring patience and love into every fold and stretch of the dough. The bakery was his world. For years, his simple bakery was his whole world. Each loaf emerged golden and crackling from the oven, full of life, full of soul. Then, one chilly autumn morning, everything changed. Elias won the Golden Loaf Award, a national recognition that turned local fame into instant legend. People came from far and wide to taste the bread they had only heard about. The small bakery buzzed with excitement and new customers, eager to experience the award-winning bread. Elias was overwhelmed but excited about the possibilities ahead. With success came opportunity. Elias renovated the bakery into a chic, modern cafe with sleek counters and bright lights. The rustic charm was replaced with a modern aesthetic. He hired staff and expanded the menu, adding pastries and gourmet sandwiches to attract a wider audience. Elias found himself stepping back from baking to manage the growing business. Days were filled with meetings, interviews, and supply chain logistics. Baking, once a sacred and personal practice, became a menial task delegated to others. He began to lose touch with his true passion. Despite the applause and the growing brand, something was missing. Elias felt a growing emptiness, a void where the joy of baking once resided. Then came the visit from the old woman, the kind lady, who had been one of his earliest customers. She had watched him work before sunrise for years and always offered a gentle word of encouragement. She bought a loaf and returned the very next day, placing it gently on the counter with a sad expression on her face. The old woman seemed troubled by something she couldn't quite articulate. "This isn't your bread, Elias," she said softly, her eyes kind but serious. "It has the right shape, but it has no soul." Her words carried a weight of years and wisdom. Her words cut deeper than any critic's harsh review. Elias felt a sharp pang of guilt and realization. He had let his success compromise his passion. That night, as the cafe closed and the city's noise faded away, Elias stepped inside the silent bakery, alone. The modern facade felt cold and unfamiliar. With only the dim light above him, he mixed flour, water, and starter, feeling the familiar, cool touch of the dough on his palms. It had been too long since he had done this with his own hand. As he kneaded, memories flooded back, the quiet joy of the craft, the pulse of the dough beneath his fingers, the patience and love woven into every fold and stretch. He found himself transported back to his humble beginnings. Hours passed, but for Elias, time stood still. The rhythm of the dough grounded him again, reminding him of the simple pleasure of creation. He realized that true mastery was not in awards or fame, but in the humble, daily practice of his craft. It was in staying hungry for perfection and staying humble enough to let the work speak for itself. As the first rays of dawn peeked through the windows, Elias carefully placed the loaves into the oven. He was filled with a sense of anticipation and hope. The next morning, Elias arrived early, before the sun peaked above the rooftops. He was eager to share his renewed passion with his staff. He gathered his young staff and did not just teach them the recipe, but shared the feeling, the patience, the care, the connection to the dough. He was not just a manager anymore, he was a mentor. He returned to baking with his own hands, side by side with his team, reminding himself and them every day that greatness grows in quiet moments of dedication. Elias was back in his element. The cafe transformed. The bread once again had that special quality, that intangible something that only Elias could create. Customers noticed the difference. The cafe buzzed with excitement, not just for the novelty, but for the undeniable soul in every bite. The cafe was full of hungry people. Elias remained celebrated, his breads still winning hearts, but now, more than ever, he was a true master. He had realized the importance of heart and art, not because of medals or fame, but because he never forgot to stay hungry for his craft and stay humble before it. Elias was a beacon of inspiration. And so the bakery continued to thrive, not just as a business, but as a place where passion, dedication, and the soul of a loaf could bring people together. Every day, Elias remembered the old woman's words. He knew that as long as he poured his heart into his work, the soul of the loaf would never fade. Elias made sure of this. And he continued to inspire others, proving that true success lies not just in accolades, but in the unwavering dedication to one's craft. The soul of the loaf became a symbol of Oakhaven, a constant reminder that anything is possible with passion, humility, and a little bit of heart.